Min Byung-Gu is a broken support who can provide insane buffs to your entire team and a great debuff to your enemies. But also utilizing the 8 set effect of Burning Blessing is going to be another amazing way for you to buff your entire team, as well as also provide healing. Because when using this on his 8 set effect, you can increase your entire team's damage by 20%, as well as also heal their HP equal to 0.2% of their HP every second, which of course activates whenever you do tag out, use a support skill or an ultimate skill. But also what is so great about Min Byung-Gu is the fact that he can also just utilize many other different sets in the game, because you could utilize the 4 set effect of Angel in White and then combine that with Sylph's Blessing, so you can get all of the damage increases from those 2 sets, as well as also increase your healing power as well, which is going to be very, very good. But then of course also all of these sets right here will be amazing for Min Byung-Gu, which then brings me on to all of Min Byung-Gu's best artifact main stats. And on Min Byung-Gu's helmet, additional HP or HP percent is going to be what you're going to want to use, because all of Min Byung-Gu's healing and damage does scale off of his HP stat. Then for his body armor and also gloves, it really doesn't matter what main stats you go for at all, so literally either additional defense or defense percent or attack percent. Again, it doesn't really matter which one you go for. And then for his boots, you're going to want to go for critical hit damage, which might sound really strange, but the reason for this is because Min Byung-Gu's critical hit damage increase that he does apply through his ultimate will increase your entire team's crit damage equal to 40% of the amount that does exceed Min Byung-Gu's basic critical hit damage. So you are definitely going to want to make sure that you can get your crit damage as high as possible. But then for his accessories, his necklace, again, just like the helmet, additional HP or HP percent is going to be what you want. For his bracelet, of course, light damage percent will be the best option for you to go for. For the ring, again, it will be additional HP or HP percent. And then finally, your earrings will always give you the guaranteed main stat of additional mana points. But then what's even more important than all of your main stats for Min Byung-Gu are going to be all of his best substats. And overall, the best substat you're going to want is going to be critical hit damage, because of the reasons I mentioned earlier with his ultimate. But of course as well, you want to try and stack as much HP percent as well as also additional HP to increase your healing. And then from that point on, literally anything that will help you survive more with your Min Byung-Gu or get you to use more skills, so things like your defense stats and like your mana point recovery rate, will also be amazing. And then for all of Min Byung-Gu's best cores, his mind piece, it doesn't really matter which one you want to go for, but the only one that he will benefit from is going to be the Nameless Demon's Deception, because you can increase your critical hit damage of your basic skills. So if you want a tiny bit more damage, you could go for that, but again, it doesn't really matter which one you go for. The same will also apply to the body piece, because both the Nameless Demon's Horn as well as also your Ancient Wraith's right hand are going to be perfectly fine, because they can give you a shield and also damage reduction. So again, it doesn't really matter which one you go for. And then finally, for his spirit piece, you'll want to go for the Nameless Demon's Magisphere, just so that you can recover your mana points equal to 5% of your maximum mana. So the other one is pretty much useless, which is why this is your best in slot 1. And then for the substats on these pieces, just make sure you get critical hit damage on every single one, because that will make your ultimate buff just way stronger. So make sure you just have critical hit damage on everything. And of course, if you do want to make Min Byung-Gu even stronger, you are going to want to level up his best skills. And the only skill that you'll ever need to level up is going to be his first basic skill, which is Light's Glimmer. And the only reason for you to level this up is so that you can increase the healing of Light's Glimmer from 0.5% of Min Byung-Gu's max HP every second, all the way to 0.75%. And the reason for it being the only really important skill for you to level up is going to be just because when you do level up your other skills, it only really increases the damage that it deals. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't level up these skills at all, because when you do level up skills, not only are you getting more damage, which will obviously be good, but more importantly, you are getting more total power for your hunter, so definitely level up all of them to a decent level. And then also what is amazing about Min Byung-Gu is the fact that you don't really need too many advancement dupes for him, because the only really important advancement dupe for him is going to be his A1, which will basically increase all of your team members' critical hit rate and also critical hit damage by up to 12%, which by far makes it the best advancement that you're going to want to have for Min Byung-Gu, because the rest of his advancements, like his A2 increasing your HP by 8%, is good, but it's just not necessarily needed, as well as also for his A3, which just gives you more healing. So again, it's nice, but it's not really needed at all. And then his A4 is just completely useless, because the 10% increase in your ult charge rate just isn't good at all, because his QTE skill just gives you 50% straight away, which is just more than enough. And then of course his A5 is amazing, because when you use your ultimate skill, you can increase the damage of the next ultimate skill for whichever teammate has the highest total power by 50%. So for this with Charhain is really good. But like I did say before, his A1 is pretty much all you'll ever need. But then also one of the final pieces to the puzzle of making Min Byung-Gu an amazing support is going to be using his exclusive weapon, Eternal Slumber, because this can increase your HP by 2.5%, all the way to 10% once you do have it at A5. But by far the most important thing about this weapon is the second part of its passive, which basically says when the user uses Heavenly Blessing, which is his ultimate skill, you can pretty much just grant your whole team a 4% damage increase for 16 seconds. But when you do get it to A5, you can actually increase that by 16%, which is going to be a really big difference in making your team do a lot more damage. Which then finally brings me on to Min Byung-Gu's best synergies and just his best team overall. And of course, without a doubt, the two best characters to run with Min Byung-Gu are of course going to be Go Gun-hee and of course Cha-Hain. And the reason why Cha-Hain does work so well with Min Byung-Gu is because she also works around critting a lot through her brand debuff and things like her advancements giving crit stats, as well as also her weapon doing the very same. So because Min Byung-Gu does buff a lot of crit stats, it does mean Cha-Hain will be able to benefit from them a ton, which makes them the perfect pairing. And then for Go Gun-hee, he can pretty much just do anything you want in the entire game because he has a lot of damage, a lot of break damage, and also very valuable buffs that he can apply to your entire team. Just like the Will of Brilliant Light buff, which can increase all of your team members' crit stats and also light damage, so also amazing. And also his weapon does also make your enemies take more light damage as well, which really does push the Mono Light team to be one of the best in the entire game. But when you are using the Mono Light team, just make sure that your Min Byung-Gu is just before your main DPS and Cha-Hain, just so that she can benefit the most from like the Burning Blessing buffs and his ultimate buffs as much as possible. But then also when it does come to actually how you do use him, it is very simple, because what you want to do with Min Byung-Gu is just make sure that you get his ultimate as fast as possible, so just make sure you're rotating as quickly as you possibly can, which will instantly allow you to get that critical hit damage buff that is going to make your Cha-Hain and also Go Gun-hee deal a lot more damage. And what is also so great about the Mono Light team is the fact that for all of your Shadow Authority leaders, you have a ton of different options that you could choose. Because if you want more crit rate, then you could use Igris for his up to 7% crit rate. Big Rock is my personal favorite in increasing your entire team's basic skill damage. And you even now have the option of Kaisel, who can increase all of your team members' ultimate skill damage, which of course will be great for the entire light team because Min Byung-Gu charges your ultimates really fast. And also a lot of the damage that you do deal with Cha-Hain does come from her ultimate, which overall makes all three of these shadows really good to use. But then of course for the supportive shadows, as always, Serbi as well as also Iron are going to be your two best options, because as I always say in these videos, the combustion debuff is just way too good not to use because it is just permanent value. And then the value that you get from Iron is just simply being able to apply a defense decrease of up to 12% and also a shield for all of your shadows, which can never be too bad, can it? So there you have it. Min Byung-Gu is an amazing support in solo leveling Arise because of all of his buffs like his Heavenly Blessing, and also things like his punishment debuff are also just fantastic. But most importantly, if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the link down below to support me as a creator. And of course, I will see you all in the next video. Peace!